Welcome to Reading and Writing Between the Lines, a podcast series about communication skills in the workplace. I'm your host, John Witzman. Join me as I speak with industry professionals and Conestoga faculty and alumni to explore their journeys with reading and writing skills. Follow us as we talk about how communications learning has changed over the years, how these skills are used in a wide range of industries, and the future of workplace communications. Since you brought up school and all of the little Johnnies and the little Daves out there, I'd love to sort of go back in time a little bit and hear from you what your experience with reading and writing education was like in your early school days.
Yeah, I think I always enjoyed writing. I remember in my kind of elementary school days, the creative writing assignments, and I, really poured a lot of my time and energy into writing the stories. My mother keeps all of this stuff. She has kept scrapbooks for my entire life, my siblings as well. So she keeps some of my, grade 3, grade 4 writing assignments, and I look back at them now.
Do you?
And I actually still remember writing some of those pieces because they were important to me. So I've always liked the creative writing aspect.
Do you think that fondness of your mother was encouraging, knowing that when you brought something home that it was
maybe.
Yeah,
I think it was more innate. I think I liked the creative aspect and telling a story. My favorite writer as a kid was Gordon Corman, who writes. There's a lot of humor in especially his earlier stuff, and I wanted to write like Gordon Corman.
Yeah.
So I think that was instrumental. When I went into high school, I had a fantastic English teacher in my grade 12 year, Mrs. McClarkey, and she took grammar very seriously. And I'm sure many of your listeners are already rolling their eyes and they're thinking, okay, so grammar can never be interesting. Mrs. McClarkey made it interesting.
How did she do that? Do you remember?
I think she treated the class with respect, but also just impressed upon us that properly structuring your writing enhances clarity, how you make your argument. And for whatever reason, it clicked. She did a 2-week seminar on commas.
Wow.
You're also rolling your eyes
No,
at that.
I'm wrapped in attention. I've got my pen out. I'm taking notes from Miss McClarkey.
And it clicked with me. The 5-paragraph essay format just made inherent sense to me. There was a logic to it, and I could apply these rules. And I knew that my writing was good as a result. Yeah. And I would sometimes write essays and I would show them to my mother, and she would kind of do a proof before I would hand it in. And she would read it out loud. And she's like, what are you saying here? And then I'd be like, oh, well, what I actually mean is, and then I would use it in my own words as I was speaking out loud. And she's like, so write that. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. So I think the combination of my mother's kind of guidance of when you write, sometimes you find your mind just going to this kind of floral, complicated sentence structure. Just, write it like you would say it, and then you apply some basic rules around how to structure it, and then it's good. And then you know that it's good. There's a sense of satisfaction at the end of the day that what you wrote is good.
I can totally relate, and I also can relate to the experience of having teacher parents who would engage me in a conversation around what I was trying to say. I think that I also did fall victim to that temptation, that pull to elevate my speech, and in doing so, lost a lot of clarity.
Right.
Probably even to the point where when I went back to look at what I had written, not really being able to identify what it was that I was originally trying to say. Yeah. I liken it to clothing when I talk to students about it. That most people would have a fairly strong sense of what an appropriate attire would be for a given social situation, whether it's a job interview or a party or a wedding, let's say, a more formal social situation, and that overdressing to a situation like that would be really awkward and would be as noticeable as underdressing.
Right.
And that seems to resonate, and yet being able to develop that sense does take time and takes those repetitions. And that marks the end of another episode of Reading and Writing Between the Lines, a podcast hosted by me, John Witzman, on behalf of the Communications Department and School of Interdisciplinary Studies at Conestoga College. You can find other episodes of this series on our YouTube channel, Reading and Writing Between the Lines. Stay tuned for more episodes. Thanks for listening.